It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our Tuesday edition of the Daily Gun Show. Puppy just woke up, our puppy co-host. We got some people joining us here. Sorry for the late start. I was late getting my Instagram post out there. So we got an Instagram post out there. All right, let's do a quick commercial for our store. We're capitalists after all. We're trying to get to SHOT Show. And if you want to help us out, grab something from our store. We'll send you back something in return. And a bunch of handfuls of free patches from SHOT Show last year.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about advanced stuff. We've been talking about SHOT Show for a bit, so we're going to be talking about some more advanced stuff. And puppy's ready. It's cold in here. 55 outside, 56 inside. That's how you don't pay a lot of electricity. All right, let's go to the description of this video, which is where we got a bunch of the data here. And we're going to be posting this over on Substack. I was thinking about whether I should do it during the show. I guess I won't. Is it that much? I guess I won't. I'll do it later. So stay tuned for a little bit more of this over on Substack. It's too many S's. It's over on Substack later on. Oh, I guess I should share the screen over here. And there we go. There we go. And we'll put the puppy down in the corner down here. A lot of people that get paid more than me, say you should not have an animal, especially a dog animal, in any kind of Second Amendment or gun-related stuff. Look how much time I'm wasting with this animal. Look how much time. We spending this time talking about bullets or grip angles. All right, we'll get into it. Pro level, so that means professional level. We're not talking about the amateurs here. SHOT Show hacks. Unconventional. So we're thinking outside the box here. Tips. These will be things that you can use. Strategies that you can implement for content creators. People that put stuff on the internet that is focused on the Second Amendment. Oh man, I think I will put on a heater though at some point. Let's see. So you've nailed the essentials. Let's unlock some expert level, often overlooked hints to help you elevate your content to the next game. So we've got some pre-show things. Become a brand ambassador. Reach out to smaller, rising brands for pre-show product collaborations or sneak peeks. This gives you exclusive content and gets you on their radar. This is probably a pretty good time to do that with your Facebooks and your Instagrams and your, community posts. A little easier to find on some of the socials than others. Some socials are kind of you follow me centric, and other socials are kind of dig around and see what's up kind of centric. Maybe even over on, is anybody using Pinterest to see if there's any kind of SHOT Show must-sees over on Pinterest? But, some of these platforms that are about the sharing and discovering, I don't know how the X is for that. The X might be for that too, if people can stop yelling at each other over there. So yeah, reaching out, this is a good time. You don't have to have established these things months and months ago. Something happened with roll call. I didn't know about that. Thanks for the heads up. So yeah, I don't know what's happening with roll call, but everybody keep them in your thoughts, please. We'll have to find out what's happening with them. So this is, you don't have to necessarily have had some kind of relationship with a company. If they're putting out a press release right now, days before the show, either it's because they didn't want to put it out too soon to release it, before the build up or whatever. They want to put it out with enough time for people to get interested in it. But their goal is to get people to be interested in it. So this is an appropriate time. This is definitely an appropriate time to reach out and make contact. They have not yet got into their show. Probably, well, I shouldn't say that. Depending on who it is, they may be actually setting up their booth right now, but they haven't gotten into full show mode yet. And reaching out to them now, you might, be first in line, first in the list, the beginnings of their list. It might be too soon. I'm not saying for everybody it's the right time, but they're putting out stuff right now. There's certainly things to pay attention to out there. Let me put this up on the screen for people. I don't know what's going on, but thanks for the heads up. Let's see. Host a pre-show live stream. I've only seen one of those so far from Ghost. Has anybody else done one? You have an opportunity to do this if you're going. How are you going to find out what's going on at SHOT? Well, don't wait for somebody else to tell you. You can create opportunities to be told. You can create opportunities, especially if you're trying to reach out to brands. So host a pre-show, unless they're literally traveling the day that you're pre-showing. And even if they are traveling, often one person's driving, at least in my experience, only one person drives. The rest of the people are bored in the vehicle. And if they're driving through populated areas where there's good Wi-Fi signal or whatever it's called, internet signal, then they could definitely join in on the road and talk about an epic tradition to start, being the pre-show, travel to SHOT show, live event. Host a show like that, get everybody hyped up about what's going to be there. The people that are spending lots of money to get there could join in. You can invite them. So having a live show, a pre-show live stream is an awesome idea. Build anticipation, connect with your audience by showcasing your SHOT Show plans, interviewing experts remotely, or running contests. Yeah, running contest is oh, okay. So of all the things in the world that could happen, that's not the worst thing. So that's good to hear that it's not a health thing or something. Let's see. So running contests, there's probably a whole nother conversation to be had about that. Interviewing experts remotely. If you haven't done that yet, why not? You're going to learn a lot. You're going to get relationships with people. You're going to have a more interesting audience who shows up for a bigger thing than just a conversation with your opinions all the time. I mean, there's definitely people with interesting opinions and audiences that show up and create a dynamic situation with just opinions, but bringing experts in and having conversations with people who know what they're talking about. And when you bring people in, it means you're opening up and you're opening up and you're opening up your audience's awareness. That's a different type of audience that shows up. That's a growing type of thing typically. So this was that all about hosting a live stream. Now we'll go on to tap into the blogger network, find and connect with other content creators attending the show, collaborate on interviews, share resources, and cross-promote each other's content. There's a lot of talk about going to the parties and stuff. Here's a fast forward. Here's a rewind. Here's a a montage of every SHOT Show party that I've attended in 18 years, I guess. Everybody shows up with a lot of anticipation. Okay, first off, somebody has to promote it. So somebody comes up with the idea of doing it, and they've either had success doing it or they haven't had success doing it, right? So think about that side of it. How many people think about this? So it's either useful for them or it's not. So if it's useful for them, they keep doing it. If it's not useful, it ends. And there's definitely been things that have come and gone, right? So there's been ideas that were a good idea and then they don't last. Good ideas that turned out to not be good ideas and didn't last, right? So there's some reason for these things, and who's profiting from it. So you go there, somebody's creating it. So first off, let's not take things for granted. There's a reason that party exists. And then it exists, right? So now people decide they have all these different options. It used to be they were all secret. It used to be they were all invite only. And then entities started to, again, exploit that, capitalize on that, and create a different world, right? Create a different situation. And okay, so fast forward and back in the day, it was invite only. If the parties were happening, they were brands that couldn't afford to go to SHOT Show or weren't going to go to SHOT Show. And they would set up a suite or a place nearby, and then they would invite strategically people in to experience their products at these off-site events. And so they had an intention, they had a reason for these off-site events because they were trying to sell stuff, and they were selling stuff to either couldn't afford to sell at SHOT Show, or it wasn't appropriate for SHOT Show, or whatever. So, law enforcement, military, off into the fringes on hunting, off into the fringes on anything. SHOT Show is very mainstream. It's a lot of stuff, but it's everything, right? So there's, you get into the extremes of zippers and Velcro and magnets and barrel bushings. Every extreme you get into, they're not going to be able to afford a booth at SHOT Show, but they have an interest in being there, and they've got the industry there. So a lot of these meetings, a lot of these get-togethers started out being product related or company product, commerce related. And then, of course, there's just the people that wanted to play. Now, there's some people making a ton of money. There's some parties that I don't think anybody talks about that are massive, that are just people making a lot of money and having a lot of fun, and really invite only for sure, letting people who have been part of that success and part of that growth participate in just some of the most elaborate, amazing stuff ever. And then there's people that don't get invited to those and then create their own. And those are there's a layer of those parties out there. And so there's more than one of the big parties, a lot of those actually. And then over the years, there's been a bunch, but there's like ones that keep going on, and not everybody even knows about all those. And then there's the ones that have sprung up that more people know about. They're not so much, they are invite only, but a lot more people can get access to them, and they're a lot lamer. So, and then you've got just people that come along and say, hey, I want to do something. I want to have a get together. There's companies in the town that will like either have or somebody that comes into town and rents a facility, like one of the shooting ranges. So there's smaller ones that'll show up that are probably product related. And especially if it's a company in town, those will be product related, right? Because it's their company. So some of these are just ways to bring people together, but they all have a point, right? They're trying to feel you up, feel you out, see if you're a good match for their content. So some of these parties you want to go to if you feel confident that you're going to do well at the party and meet their expectations or whatever. Now, if you're not interested in trying to do that, then just don't go to the party and deal with them via email and whatever. Let your numbers speak for themselves. You don't have to, be some kind of party person to be able to do, work with everybody. But some of them, again, they see that everybody else is doing it and they're in town, so they got to do it too. And they've either had success or not, but they keep doing it. So I'm guessing they've had success with it. Anyway, so there's these reasons for these parties. And then now there's so many of them, people have to start making decisions. So then there was a bit of competition between them to try to make them appealing for people to want to come to them. So keep all that in mind. The alternative to that is people getting together and connecting with each other. And, that can happen. And that was a long explanation to just say these parties are what they are, but they have a reason to exist. They don't just exist because somebody's rich and they got nothing else to do. There's a couple of those, but you don't get invited to those. The ones that do exist for a reason, and they're doing business. They have a reason for these parties. And, anyway, so you go, I guess the other side of it is I was going to say you go to them, and, some people show up early, and then there's the people that show up late. Some people show up in the middle, and that's where all the crowd gets there. So you've got the opportunity in the beginning to talk to fewer people because there's less people there. But those are the early people, right? And then you got the possibility at the end to talk to people a little easier because there's fewer people there. But those are the people that are still there. So during the party, it's usually super crowded. And it's depending on which one you go to, they're usually asses to elbows. Everybody's crowding in on each other. So you're either walking around, which is what I do. I walk around these things and see hey to people or whatever, or you're the person who stays in one spot and lets somebody find you, and then you have a conversation, and then it'll break up, and somebody will come over, and so you're either the mover or you're the parker, and that's essentially what it is. A whole bunch of people sitting there and a whole bunch of people walking around, and then some kind of awkward or whatever conversations. Now, every once in a while, if the party's a military party, the military people are doing their thing, and there's a bunch of people watching. If it's an industry party, it's a little more awkward because then it's the people that host the party are the people that are the cool kids at the party that have the product or have the whatever it is that everybody else is there for. And, there's a line of people informally standing there waiting to talk casually to them as soon as this other casual conversation ends. So again, that person at that party, are they working or are they having a great time talking to everybody because everybody's their buddy? So it just gets really, to me, it gets really fake, and it gets really, you're either, and I guess there's the other line somewhere where they're either getting drunk or they're not getting drunk. And if you're there to do business, you're not getting drunk. And if you're there to just F off, then yeah, you're getting all drunk or whatever. But seriously, you're going to get all drunk at a place where half the people are doing business and you're working with people that are in your, it's like going to work and getting drunk. If I'm going to go to get drunk, I'm going to get drunk with my friends, not my work friends, right? So there's that. There's this, it's not awkward necessarily, but it can be. And there's definitely multiple things going on at these parties. So people love them. People that have had success with them dig them. I find that most people dig them for a few years and then realize they're just a bunch of fake, a bunch of stuff happening that you're either in on it or you're just wasting your time. And there's alternatives. And one of the alternatives that I find is the most, or is the I think has the biggest potential, but is often, I don't know if it even happens. At least I don't see any results from it that anybody mentions. Is just getting together. We have the entire industry together. We're allowed to get together for productive uses. So getting together for dinners, getting together for informal gatherings, I guess, something between a party and, a big fake party where you get a bunch of booze and stuff and you try to make it like, hey, let's forget about what we're doing, even though we're all here for work and we're all going to start working as soon as we get together anyway. Just leave it a work thing. Let people drink coffee and soft drinks, but sit around and have an actual round table, get some things accomplished. And once you start to have some options in the evenings for people to get things accomplished, that lets them take their mind off the work of SHOT Show, but understanding that there's the resource of us all gathered together in the community, in the same city, can really get some work done, some collaboration between entities. That would be amazing. So if you're someone who's trying to look for something to do that's different, that's creating a new path that has value instead of just a new path for the sake of cutting a new path, consider trying to get people together for something worthwhile. And that can be as much, something frivolous like a new grip angle or a new, plate for some stupid optic that will get you killed. But it could be something that's super useful, right? Something that matters. So consider that. There's great places in our community, in the community of the United States, that we don't have any coverage at all with firearms. And why aren't we covering those? So SHOT Show is a business thing, but those after-hour things, lots of opportunity there. So I'm going off on a rant, but we're talking advanced level here. So that's that blogger network and sharing resources and cross-promoting each other's content. Obviously, a lot of people you might know have been chatting with each other. There's lots of opportunity there to see how others work and to tap into each other's audiences. You'll have to let audiences figure out if they like that or not. I typically could care less when somebody I don't know brings their audience or it becomes a guest on a show, because, unless you have some interest in what that person's saying, most people at some point quit subscribing to everybody that comes along. They start to subscribe to the things that they want to hear about. But let's get to floor finesse. Nobody saying anything out here. Feel free to leave some comments or whatever, so it's not just a lecture. But the floor finesse master the human tripod. They're saying ditch the bulky tripod and learn to stabilize your camera using your body. I don't know. That seems weird to me, but a robot said this. I would say consider though other options besides a tripod for sure. You can set your camera on stuff. You can put your arm on a shelf or on brace it against a wall or something. Some people just bring a stick, and that way you've got the stick to lean a camera on. It's a lot easier to carry around than a tripod. And well, if you need something to stick, to walk around on, it gives you some support, I guess. There's also stabilization. So I know some people are getting around that by getting cameras that have stabilization on them. Seek out hidden gems. Venture beyond the main halls and explore the smaller booths. You might discover unique brands and stories the big players overshadow. I don't know who they consider the big players, who the robot's thinking. This is a pretty good robot, so it's probably looking. This is a robot that's connected to the internet, so it's probably looking at all the different coverage of SHOT Show, and it probably thinks that the larger channels is the big players. Yeah, and the larger channels don't have the option to do what they want. They're looking at things that they're either already scheduled to do, or looking at things that they feel is their level or whatever. But I don't know. I don't think that that's like the best or the only advice there. The smaller booths are great, but smaller booths, smaller audience. So yeah, you can have all the time in the world with a tiny product, but how big is the audience going to be on a tiny product? I can tell you from somebody who's looked at the unique, weird things, or even just the AK-47 stuff at SHOT Show. Like, you would think the one person or one of the few people looking at the AK-47 stuff, you would get a lot of views. No, not necessarily. There's just not a lot of people interested in that. At SHOT Show, people are interested in what has the new grip angle, or what has the different magazine capacity, or what's made out of a different kind of material or something. That's what SHOT Show is all about. So the smaller stuff, you can definitely get in with those smaller people, but don't expect the same large audience from checking out or describing the smaller stuff. So, and then I guess the other side of it is, those big players, they're just superficially looking at the big stuff. So what you're missing with the big stuff is the real stories. Who designed this? What's the subtle differences between it? What was the reason you did this? You can get into it. You can look at the other products that the big players have besides the newest products. They might come out with 2 new models, but they're often coming out with caliber upgrades or decisions that they've made to do or don't do this. So you can sit there with the larger booths, and I'm not even going to say crumbs. You don't even have to gather crumbs. You can just literally, the big fish are going to come by, and they're all pretty much going to they're going to be attracted to the bait, whatever the bait is that the booth has. You can go in there and look at all the other stuff in that booth and probably not even be touching the stuff that the big fish or whatever they're calling them do. So as much as the hidden gems aren't just in the small booths, the hidden gems are all over the place. You can find hidden gems if you went to SHOT Show today and did a walkthrough, like it's going to take me 11 miles, it takes 11 miles to walk through it. And I walked past, this many Second Amendment booths and this many hunting booths and this many reloading booths, did something like that, you could create your own hidden gems. Like, if you did that every year at SHOT Show and you kept going to SHOT Show, eventually people are going to go, oh, I need to know how big SHOT Show was this year. They might use your project as a reference for that. So there's no rules. You don't have to watch what other people have done at SHOT Show. In fact, I recommend not watching what other people have done at SHOT Show. They're almost always doing lame stuff. When we go back to working with other people, how often do you see multiple people at SHOT Show doing something together? We're going to hit all the reloading stuff at SHOT Show this year, since it's too much for, I'm picking a bad example. We're going to hit all the shotguns at SHOT Show this year. Since that's too many for one person to do, 3 channels are going to do it. And this is how we're going to break it down. But we're going to cover every single shotgun booth at SHOT Show. And this is how we're going to do it. Boom. Now you're sharing an audience, right? Now you're creating a hidden gem. I've done that in the past with AK-47 stuff. Again, probably the only bigger channel even looking at AK stuff. And then probably the only channel seeking it all out, or one of the only channels, probably one of a couple channels seeking it all out. But there's no success in that. It's not like I kept doing that. But you could create your own hidden gem. All right, we're going to take a commercial. I'm going to try to clear my throat. And feel free to ask some questions, throw some stuff out there. Otherwise, just a lecture. That's
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
All right, that commercial is really not that long. All right, so record B-roll footage. I keep saying this every time we have some kind of chat about this. You're going to SHOT Show. You're paying a lot of money. Unless you live in Vegas and it's no big deal for you. You're going to SHOT Show and it's costing you a lot of money. B-roll footage of the plane. B-roll footage of getting ready. B-roll footage of your luggage. B-roll footage of the gear you left with. If you're not making money off of your luggage and the gear you're taking with you, your camera and stuff, then let's have a conversation, because you should be making money off your luggage, off the what you put in your luggage, your camera and the car, the airplane, the things you use to snooze on the airplane, the little head thing or the eye things. And if you're not making money on all that, let's have a conversation, because that could be paying for your trip to SHOT Show. So B-roll, B-roll, B-roll. Now you get to SHOT Show, you got a hotel room. Have you worked with the hotel rooms? You're a travel content creator, aren't you? Don't you travel to create content? Have you worked with a hotel yet? You know how easy it is to work with a hotel? Are you recording your hotels? Are you recording your cars? B-roll. When you go to SHOT Show, are you recording the hallways and your experience at the restaurants and how you get into SHOT Show? People are like, oh, here's the meat and potatoes of SHOT Show. They don't know how it's like to get in there unless they watch somebody's live stream of getting out of an Uber and walking into the place. Oh, you've never done that? So B-roll, you're paying a lot of money to do this. If that's like going to a restaurant and then walking in, just walking up to a table, taking one slice out of a steak or whatever, eating one piece of that steak, and then walking out. Like, you paid for a lot more than that. Like, you can do more than just take one slice out of this thing and leave. So B-roll footage, B-roll footage. And I mean, unless digital content is super heavy or it costs you a lot to have another hard drive or whatever, B-roll footage. Now, it'll say capture ambient sounds. So ASMR is a thing. Has anyone done SHOT Show ASMR? How do you know that's not a moneymaker? How do you know that doesn't create eyeballs or ears, I guess? Crowd shots is bad. I don't like doing crowd shots. There's people that don't want to be there, and you're just taking a lot of assumptions there. Crowd shots where it's all you see is little specks, and that's your hats. It's one thing. Walking through the crowd, you're an a-hole, and expect to get clotheslined every once in a while, expect people to trip you every once in a while, expect people to steal stuff, knock your camera out of your hands, take your stuff off your backpack, because you're being an a-hole, so people are going to treat you accordingly. Crowd shots are no-no. Interesting details to add visual dynamism. Dynamism? Dynamism. I don't know if that's a word, robot. And atmosphere to your content. So, have you looked up in the escalators before? Have you put your camera someplace, like on a stick, and looked down at SHOT Show before? Have you gone down a hallway or something and stuck your camera up in the air? Have you, think about different ways to, again, these B-roll things can add flavor to your videos. Now your videos aren't just as boring or cookie cutter, and people understand the significance of this place. They don't realize we're walking 2 miles sometimes to get into the place, to walk 11 miles, to walk 2 miles to get home. You're allowed to make videos of that. Have you ever thought about doing a live stream on the way up? Here's what I'm looking at today. Let me know if I'm missing anything. I'll check my messages on the way out. And then as on the way out, you go, oh man, that was so much. And then I check my messages. Thanks so-and-so for showing me about the thing. I didn't see that. And you're walking anyway. Why not do streams for that? Keep your people that care about what you're doing in the loop. 99% of people that go to SHOT Show, they're going to be blacked out. You're not going to hear from them again. If they get home on Saturday or Sunday, you might start hearing from them then. And then if they get sick or they're tired, you might not hear from them until the middle of next week. And then they start going, oh, I can't keep posting SHOT Show stuff because it's February. I can't keep posting SHOT Show stuff because it's March. So don't do that. You spend a lot of money going there. Use all that content. Next one is don't be afraid to ask questions. Approach booth personnel with genuine curiosity and engage in meaningful conversations. You'll get richer stories and insights. I got to turn the heater on. Oh my goodness. We're using a Lasco heater today, actually. A Lasco tower heater. Get these easy to use controls from the top of the tower heater. All right, so don't be afraid to ask questions. Approach booth personnel with genuine curiosity and engage in meaningful conversations. You're there for them, not them for you, right? So what are you doing? how can you help them, and who do you reach? So those are the questions that they're worried about. That's the stuff that you can bring to them. But yeah, if you approach it where everyone's there to offer content to you, it'll be like oil and water. Now, if you go the other way and you get so engaged with everybody, then you'll not get very far, because you'll be so engaged with everyone, you'll just be sitting at their booth and watching the rest of SHOT Show walk by. That's not good or bad, but there's 2,500 booths, so if you have great relationships with 4 of them, guess how many you don't have great relationships with? 2,496. So those you have the best relationships with often get the like little eyebrow wave, like, hey Steve, like this couple people I know, like, hey dude, like we've had like countless conversations, we've had countless dinners together, we've spent hours and hours and days and days and days at the range before. We're not going to sit here and talk to each other at SHOT Show. Like, hey, see ya, having a good time? You need anything? Like, see ya. That's about as much time as I'll spend with my best friends at SHOT Show. So again, it's a time for relationship bumping, but I mean, I haven't ever fallen into that quagmire. Maybe I have. It's been a long time. I must have over the years at some point wasted time hanging out at booths, but it's real easy to talk yourself into you're not wasting your time, but you don't know what you don't get. You know what I mean? Like, it's like going to a gun show and hanging out with your friend at the gun shop, your friend that owns a gun shop, hanging out at their booth at the gun show. Now you just paid to go into a gun show to watch other attendees walk by you. You didn't go, you pay for a gun show to go look at the tables and see, discover what you don't know about. So if you pay to go into a gun show and hang out with your best friend the whole time, you should have got paid to go to the gun show and hang out with your friend. Let's see. Don't be afraid. That was the ask questions. The next one is network. The richer stories and insights. That one. Okay, you go up and look at a booth and go, hey, what's your grip angle, or what's your new optic, blah, blah, blah. You're going to compete with everybody else who cares more about the grip angle and cares more about the blah, blah, blah. But if you walk into the booth and go, can you give me the origin story of this? Can you give me your origin story? Can you give me something about, like, why is the booth different this year? Like, give some extra question why you care about that company. One, you'll get a different reaction from the company because, oh, wait a minute, this person isn't asking me the obligatory question. You don't need to ask that question because a zillion other people already asked it. You probably already know the answer. And what do you need another version of them reciting the answer? But if you're the only one that can talk to them, that has the origin story from SHOT Show this year, there you go. They got the only video there. So the richer stories and insights, that's a gold vein right there. That's a good one. Unless your goal is to create some kind of sleek, efficient site where you're only worried about the bottom line. This probably won't apply to you. Network with unexpected allies. Strike up conversations with fellow attendees in line, at food courts, or during downtime. You might uncover hidden talents or collaborators. So there's 2,500 media there, and there's 60,000 industry folks. Okay, the girl dog went outside. Yeah, and there's other stuff going on in Vegas right then. There's stuff right before us. The electronics convention is really big, and it's right before us. They cleared out, and now SHOT's coming in, but the concrete convention is there. So concrete is pretty big, it turns out. A lot of people use concrete these days, and that's a massive convention because their tools are big, and there's a lot of people that show up to it. So Vegas is very full. So pretty much if you're going to a hotel and you're in an elevator, if you're waiting in line at I would have said buffet, but I don't know. There's some buffets, I guess. But, if you're waiting in line, like they're saying, you're going to, odds are, well, especially if you take a look at their clothing, you're going to tell from people that don't take their badges off. That happens all the time. Or just people wearing camouflage and stuff. You can probably tell if they're from SHOT Show or not, or you might be able to tell if they're from SHOT Show or not. And So yeah, there's definitely a good odds, I guess is what I'm saying, that when you're just hanging out with people, that they're gonna be able to have a conversation with you. This at this point in Vegas, you can have conversations with like Uber drivers and people that work in Vegas that live there, and they know about SHOT Show because it's been going on. It's been in Vegas now for like 22 years. Has it been that long? No, 10 years. Just realized if the girl dog is just walking in and out and I've got the heater on, that means I'm heating the outdoors. I don't like doing that. It's still freezing in here. It's 57, both inside and outside, so I'm trying to make it hotter than that. So having conversations, is that, what's that called? Is that, it's not gregarious, is it, whatever it's called, to be a kind of person that strikes up conversations? If that's not in your nature, unless you have some kind of real problem with it, consider trying it out in Vegas. You know what they say about Vegas stays in Vegas? Like, Vegas is a town that is nothing but tourists, right? There's the people that live there that deal with the tourists, and then there's tourists, and that town will swell and, to massive sizes with the tourism. So you're definitely dealing with a town that don't care about tourism. There's a few towns. Maybe Orlando is like that. Maybe Branson, Missouri. There's a couple of towns that are mostly tourism. Vegas is the top of those towns. So I guess what I'm getting at, if you want to try a different way of doing things, do it in Vegas. Nobody will care. So if you're going to be normally you talk all the time and you can't shut up, try shutting up in Vegas, because the people that are there will talk. It's like going to New York. If you talk all the time and go to New York, you're dumb. Like, shut up. Listen to people in New York. They talk all the time. Same thing in California a lot of times. So if you're the other type that's quiet all the time, consider being, starting conversations, seeing what that's like in a place like in Vegas during the SHOT Show. Because again, you try doing that. It's crazy how the Uber drivers know about stuff. It used to be cab drivers and stuff, but the people that live there, they're not. Like I say, they're totally familiar with SHOT Show. Especially the closer and closer you get to the actual, either the convention center or one of the places that people congregate. And I've gotten all kinds of not just myself, because I don't Uber that much, but just hearing people who've said like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I was wearing this shirt and the Uber driver told me about such and such. Or the Uber driver was just driving so-and-so right before us, and they said that this thing was happening. And it's like, what? How would anyone even know that, except that you were wearing a shirt and the Uber driver happened to be driving somebody else who was talking about it out loud? So anyway, so you can get some interesting stuff by striking up conversations. If you're on a bus, so if you're going to the range day and you're not driving out there yourself, then you probably are driving the bus. You can get all kinds of opportunity there because you're on a crowded bus with a bunch of other people, and you're on there for like an hour almost each way. So you'll have opportunity to talk to people there. Here's the thing. If you're with a group of people, you're with your best friend, you're with your cameraman, consider not talking to each other on the bus, because you just paid a bunch of money to go there, and you just paid a bunch of effort to get on that dang bus. Think about it like you both know each other already. You're back to back. Both of you start having conversations with other people, and then recon back at the hotel or whatever. What did you learn? What did you find out? It was a bust. Oh, I found out blah, 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 right? Like, you just go to a place and you talk to each other. You're paying a lot of money to do what you do at home. So strike up conversations. Some people, it depends on the year. If you're busy, you got other things to do, you can always forget this. But if you've ever had the opportunity to just intentionally strike up conversations with people, there's people out here who are naturally inclined to do that, and it's not a big deal for them. Most people aren't, though, and some people hate this. But one, if you just don't think about it, or two, if you hate it and you would never do this before, again, think of SHOT Show as an opportunity to do this. Like, if you don't care either way, do it. Like, make a point. Set a time on your watch for like 11 a.m., right? And then another one for like 2 p.m. and another one for 4 p.m. And then at those times when the watch goes off, the first person you look up and see, start a conversation with them and tell me if that's a bad idea at the end of SHOT Show. So if you're the type of person that does strike up conversations all the time, try shutting up. Try shutting up once in a while and opening your two ears. Again, you probably think everything's cool when you are the one that comes in and starts the conversations. Maybe that's, you have to, because your situation. At SHOT Show, you don't have to. At SHOT Show, you can shut up and somebody else will be there to do that. And listen, like you'll learn so much with conversations at a place like SHOT Show. You can do this at the range. You can do this at the gun show. You can do this at a gun shop. It's just way harder because there's fewer and fewer and fewer people at these events. SHOT Show, it's all us there. Now open your eyes, do the same thing. You're there to do something and you're there to go there. Every once in a while, stop. Every once in a while, do that same thing. You know, set some times on your watch, on your phone or whatever, and use those to intentionally stop. Even if you're late for an appointment, trust me, there's nothing that's that big of a deal. Stop. And I guess if you're super late for an appointment, you can blow off one of these things, but take an opportunity to just stop and look around. Have you ever just stopped in an intersection at SHOT Show and looked? You might have been if you're looking for somebody, but when you're looking for somebody, your brain is immediately discriminating everything that isn't the person you're looking for. Do it the other way around. Don't look for anybody. Stop at SHOT Show and look around. Have you ever done this? Have you stopped and take a look around at who's walking by? Who's in the booths? Stop. Take a look at a booth that you really, really want to work with, and don't just walk into that booth. Stop and look at that booth for a while. See if the people at that booth are having a good time. If they're stoked, if they're wish they weren't there, maybe they just got a phone call with great news or bad news. You can figure that out by just watching. Just stop and watch. Listen to what's going on. Potentially, you're not supposed, I'm not saying snoop on other people's conversations, but just observe. People don't do that. And what you can get out of that is, it's unknown. Like that's, priceless. Might discover hidden talents or collaborators. I don't know of any way to, be open for that. I don't know if there's any tips out there for creating that to happen, but nothing's coming to mind for me. So let's see, now we get on to content creation magic. And let me know if you think the robot, everybody's been dead in the water today. I've seen a bunch of people joining in, but aside from saying, hey, they must not like this one. It's too advanced for people, I guess. Content creation magic. Go micro content. Create bite-sized, engaging videos, Instagram stories, or tweets throughout the show to keep your audience hooked. I went in to do shorts last year, and I paid off my debt. I paid off all the credit card debt I had last year. So I think micro content is pretty damn good. If you want to find out how you can do that, then start reading the internet. There's about 100 different ways. But small stuff is definitely the way to go. You could do an entire SHOT Show of just micro. And as soon as I say that, I'll also say, do the micro content all you want, but don't be so tunnel visioned on micro that that's all you get out of SHOT Show. Keep in mind all these other things I'm talking about. And while you're getting all that micro content, maybe just to balance it, have an in-depth hour-long conversation with the person you did the most micro content with, Don't limit yourself or hinder yourself by going into doing that. But short content, it's the future, it is the existing, it's the number one thing right now. Let's see. Host live Q&A sessions. Use social media platforms to answer audience questions in real time, showcasing your expertise and fostering interactions. I don't know if you can do that. So, one, I don't know if they want you to do that because they have a fit about things sometimes, and this might be one of the things they're having a fit about at the moment. And two, and I'm talking about NSSF / whoever's they're paying to host SHOT Show, which is sort of like an unknown each year. I don't think they want you to do live stuff for some reason, and it's a giant room with a zillion people in it. Everybody has phones, so it's just difficult to do live. That's why you don't see live happening. You don't even see very many rogue lives happening. It's just very difficult to do it, even from the media room. So this might be biting off more than they can chew. That being said, having a remote person off site, I don't know why people don't do that. I've tried to have that happen more than once, where you have somebody off site hosting live, and then people can jump in and ask questions from the audience side, or get interaction from the audience side at the same time. You have multiple content creators popping in and dropping news or photos, or when they're taking a break, or when they've just discovered something interesting. So I don't know why we don't do multiple live sessions off site, but on site is kind of technically and logistically very difficult. Use social platforms to answer audience questions in real time. Now, on the other hand, if I'm thinking live streaming video, if you're thinking live as the Twitter, I can't remember what year it was. It had to be at this one because I remember it being in the food court. But one year at the food court, they first brought in Twitter, and that year they first brought in Twitter as a live feed for SHOT Show, and you could hashtag SHOT Show, and it would show up in the SHOT Show feed. And then they had these screens everywhere, and then the feed was just running. So most people were ignoring it, but when you sat there, you could type in like hashtag, like I'm a big dummy, and then the person sitting in front of the screen, it would look like, it said they're a big dummy or whatever. So we were having some fun with the tweet thing, and I can't remember what year it was, but there was one time when they kind of added a live Twitter stream to the thing, and you could probably just shower Instagram with live stuff. That's certainly been done before, and that happens. I mean, that's definitely a thing. And then it fosters interaction for sure, because people, again, most people are going to, I think, well, it's hard to say most, a lot of people will give you a blackout for the week. They go to SHOT Show, they're down, and then whenever they come back online, they come back online. The opposite is the people that are on the Instagrams and stuff. It's one of the reasons I liked Instagram so much, is it allowed us to do SHOT Show immediately. And the people that cared about that could just hang out on Instagram and watch SHOT Show happening kind of all the time, all day long. And that's super cool for those of us that are there, because when everyone's in there, dropping posts and links and discoveries, then it's so much easier to know what's happening in such a giant place. Boomstick Babe is saying this year is going to be nuts. How so? We haven't really had too much discussion. 20 was, 20 was what it was. And then 21 didn't happen. 22 was the best SHOT Show that ever happened. That was an amazing, well, no, it wasn't. SHOT Show 2022 was the best other than SHOT Show 2008. But 22 was essentially the best SHOT Show that anyone can remember. And then 23 was all right. It was okay. It was different. So I don't know if this year it's going to rebound one way or the other, or just stay consistent. I don't think the world is moving around enough to make SHOT Show any different. I think it's all about just the industry and how much it wants to take, because there's a bunch of people that used 21 to justify their non-interest in attending SHOT Show, Mossberg and Sig and probably others. So there's a contingency of people that think the community getting together has no value, and they are actively working to see it not happen. And they use 21 as the reason, the beginning of that. So there's a potential that could keep going, but I don't see a lot of that. I don't see a giant tendency to that. Flying Rich is out there. Welcome. So let's see. So micro content, like say the Instagram. Now tweets, I don't see it. X is super political and just bickering. I don't see anything valuable happening on Twitter. Not for SHOT Show for sure. Twitter is political ranting and I told you so's, and look at how we're, it's all fear mongering and shit. So I don't see Twitter, at least people I follow on Twitter, aren't sharing pictures or nothing. And I don't follow that many people on Twitter, I guess. But very few people are just like, hey, look at what I got, or look at the thing, or look what I did. It's a lot of competition about the news, complaining about stuff. Is it worth trying to push pictures onto Twitter? It'll happen, because I think I have my Instagram auto push into Twitter, or at least I could set it up to do that, I think. So potentially you could do some of that, like auto repost type of stuff. So you could do some, what's it called? Market research on whether or not pictures would work on Twitter. Boomstick is saying lots of people in the industry are changing. Some companies not showing up. NSSF being more involved with gun control, etc. I don't know about NSSF being involved in gun control. What's his face wants to act like that's the case. NSSF is just being plain old NSSF. But the perception is what matters. But there's been worse years for people bragging on NSSF. Thing is, NSSF is tone deaf as hell. They don't give a shit one way or the other. So when they win, they don't brag about it, and when they lose, they don't even realize they're losing. But there's not anywhere near as bad a connotation about SHOT Show as there's been in some years. We tend to eat our own. So when we're in need, we kind of hate each other. But when we have a lot, when we've got plenty, everybody hates each other. And that's when SHOT Show has the least attention, is when everybody's successful and guns aren't at risk at all. Because then everybody's like, oh, I don't need SHOT Show. SHOT Show is just a big waste of time. Mainly because everybody's doing so well, they're scared to go head to head at SHOT Show. This year, I guess I'm not paying that much attention to big, that consider themselves big or that are considered big. But I don't think we're dealing with that anymore, where the big entities bitch about SHOT Show because they're scared to go compete. Honestly, I haven't watched this video either, so I gotta go figure out what's going on with roll call. All right, so the next one is host live Q. Did I just do live Q&A sessions? No. So host live Q&A sessions, or is that what I just did? I think I just did that. Turn interviews into mini documentaries and edit longer interviews into short, impactful stories that highlight key takeaways and personalities. I guess that's a way of describing, like, take your long form video and turn it into shorts and short form content. You know, that's definitely a thing to do, and to get more use out of whatever it is you're doing. So what also is nice about that, as far as a content creator, is getting the perfect shot isn't as necessary technically. It's nice to get it all one take, no editing done, and then you can just slice that up. But in reality, noise or person's phone going off or something coming up and they got to take a break for 5 minutes and come back and meet with you, whatever, right? And you want to be open to that. So if something like that happens, there's no need to stress, really, because having two pieces that have to be put together in editing just means, okay, great, I have plenty to work with for cutting it up into shorts. It also means, when you think about chopping stuff up into shorts, it's less and less of an issue if you go to someone and meet them on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then, oh, wait, you know what? I got some feedback and people wanted to know about the height or the weight of the thing. Now you go back on Thursday or Friday to ask them a subsequent question, you know, and they're wearing a different shirt or it's a different scenario or something. It's less of an issue. The interview doesn't seem like, oh, this is a put together interview. Like, probably nobody cares about that anyway. But in this case, you've got, again, you're going to be chopping it up into so many different pieces that lack of continuity isn't going to need to be noticed. Let's see. Get creative with sound design. Add sound effects, music, and voiceovers to elevate your footage to make it stand out from the crowd. Yeah, I hate this, but it works. So it's true. I don't know how you're going to do that at SHOT Show, other than doing stuff like that. But yeah, it does work. It's just using mammal brains against us. But there's people that are going to do it. If you need to do tricks in order to win, then that's a trick. Collaborate on post-show content. Team up with other creators to produce joint articles. Hey, just because it's legal in Vegas, not everybody's going to be interested in that kind of article. Podcasts or video reviews, offering diverse perspectives and reaching wider audiences. Yeah, so you're going to be meeting people like right now. Boomstick Babe is out here. Flying Rich is out here. Christian 740 is out here. Next year, Artex said he'll be going. Coast Tactical is in here. Snob is in here. I suspect all these folks don't know each other, but they have the opportunity to tap, say, hey, and then come up with something. What would happen if you did some sort of a thing at SHOT Show this year where you said to everybody you met, like, hey, after SHOT, I'm doing a show on the blah, blah, blah. The Wednesday, whatever the Wednesday is after SHOT Show, or maybe Wednesday 2 weeks after SHOT Show. Or maybe you came up with 3 after events, and the first 5 people you meet, you invite to the first live show. And then the next 10 people you meet, you invite to the second live show, and so forth. So that you build your post-show content at SHOT. So instead of saying, hey, let's do something one day. Hey, nice to meet you. We never met before. Let's do something one day. How about you go, hey, we're going to be having an after shot chat on Wednesday the 14th. I'm going to email you and hopefully you can show up to that. And now that person goes, if I can, I can. But if I can, now I'm in a chat with a whole bunch of other people that this person met at SHOT Show. Just putting it out there. One thing that we don't do enough as a community is act like a community. And that's because we're all doing our own things. We're allowed to. We're capitalists. We all have our own draws on our attention, things that we're able to do, things that we're interested in. But when we talk to each other more often, we figure out where those things overlap. And once we get overlapping areas of interest, we have crossfire, interconnected crossfire. Once we have interconnected crossfire, we're impenetrable. So it's strategic. You can go there. You can spend a lot of money to go to SHOT Show. You can get all your own content. Gimme, 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 mine, mine, mine. You go home and you won. But did we win? Let's see. Next, we'll get to some remembers. Be bold and authentic. Don't be afraid to express your unique voice and perspective. Stand out from the crowd and let your passion shine through. So listen, sister, if you're going to go there and try to act like what everybody else did, you're going to be ignored. You're going to be unseen. Go there and do your thing. You've got 2,500 people there. If your thing is, I like left-handed things and left-handed people should be able to do what they want. That's awesome. It's legal. You can do that. And you're going to end up finding all the people at SHOT Show that think that it's okay for left-handed people to have guns. And that's fine. You'll find all those people. But if you don't talk about left-handedness, you'll never know that. Think about 9mm. That fad caliber would still be laying on the shelves of Europe if it wasn't for a bunch of weirdos walking around SHOT Show probably, trying to push it on everybody until eventually it became a thing for a little while until the fad runs out. So yeah, going to SHOT Show and being unauthentic is a waste of time, at least if you're really trying to do anything. Snob is saying, I'm going to record most of my videos in full frame so I can easily make shorts. Yeah, I think that's why a lot of people bring 4K, right? So it's huge and they make giant files, but then they can pull really nice stuff from it. So I get that. I actually got a nice camera finally, a nicer camera. I have a camera that's worth $130 now. Let's see. So yeah, I'd say go do your own thing and don't be afraid to talk about stuff to companies and stuff. If nobody said, hey, is there a left-handed version of this? We'd never have left-handed stuff, right? If nobody said, hey, can you make this in a decent caliber instead of stupid 9mm? The 9mm fad would have kept going. So definitely let people know your thing. Part of SHOT Show is from the booth, from the other people at SHOT Show. They're there to gather data. So if you don't put data out there for them to gather, nothing changes. All right, next we'll go to capture the unexpected. Look for moments of humor, surprise, and human connection beyond just the products. These are the stories that resonate most, for sure. And that's what it's about, the community, right? This is the firearms community, the industry, what's the other word for it? Our culture, coming together. And this is, people just dissect what our community is versus our culture. And our culture is created by the people coming together, right? And sharing and experiencing each other. Everybody comes to SHOT Show one way. They experience all this stuff and they go home a different way, right? That just happens. Now you can let that happen. It can happen to you. You can fight it. You can lean into it, whatever. But everybody comes together. Everybody goes home a little bit different. That's culture. Community is the people that are involved. So community is what it is. Somebody's from Colorado, Ohio, Oklahoma. All right, where's Gunswater from? Missouri? Flying Rich, somewhere in Florida, I think. So right, we got people from all over. That's the community. Like those people, those places, that's the community. The culture is what everybody gives a shit about, coming together, wiping it on each other, getting peanut butter and chocolate, and coming home and going, oh, peanut butter and chocolate's a thing. I didn't even know that. So that's the culture. And yeah, we can go there and report on the grip angles and the grip angle and whatever you call them, the red dot plates or whatever garbage, which is whatever. It's necessary. I'm not saying it's important. It's just necessary. But all the other stuff is what allows people to understand why a company matters or what a company did in spite of or what a company was able to do even though, right? That's the stuff that is more interesting for me, and I suspect most people will seek that out since the majority of people aren't bothering with it. uh Southeast Pennsylvania. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know if I'll remember that or not. I might remember. Because now I can stick you in there with guns and barbecue. All you people in Pennsylvania have guns names, so it's easy for me to remember because I just put y'all in a pile. Let's see. So capture the unexpected. We just did that one. Focus on storytelling. Craft narratives that captivate your audience and connect with them on an emotional level. Make it more than just product demos. Yeah, like you're not supposed to, like, as they're talking to you about the product, they're doing their product demo. You don't want to say like, your cat just died, because that would be me. So you probably want to come out with talking to them and having conversations. That's going to be pretty tough if you're going to kind of move along. So craft narratives that captivate your audience and connect with them on an emotional level. I don't know where this one comes from. Storytelling. This seems like a waste of time to me. In the rest of the year, maybe, like once you know a company or something, like, and you know their story, like get them to talk about it or something. But if you're going to have to discover all that at the show, that seems like a lot of time. Now, on the other hand, if you know something about a story, like the origin story of something already, and you're at SHOT Show and they're there to demo that product for you, tell them, nah, somebody else can demo it for me. You tell me the origin story. Like, let's make sure that my audience understands, why this thing is so important or why this company even exists in the first place. That I could say, that for sure. But I don't know if SHOT's the place to get into discovering all this. But referring back to it just takes too much time to discover it. Be resourceful and adaptable. We're going to take a second because I can barely speak, and we will have to get another commercial. Let's see. What's this one? Thanks to Foss for making that commercial for me, by the way. Little dog sitting right here, being a co-host. I definitely agree with the, what does it say it? Get creative with the sound. I add a snoring effect to all our videos now that the puppy co-host is part of the show. That way, for people that are getting bored by the show, they can just drift off to slumber with the puppy co-host. By the way, if you fall asleep and the puppy co-host is anywhere near you, he's kind of like one of them things that sticks onto a shark. He's going to go over to you, shove his little flat face right on you, and then snuggle up against you and start to get warm, like a little heated bean, or very much like a burrito. You're gonna wake up feeling like there's a little warm burrito stuck to part of you. Sometimes it's your arm, sometimes it's your neck, sometimes it's just on the back of you, depending on how you're laying on the bed. But he will kind of snuggle up, stick his face right in you, and then somehow he turns into like 3 times the heat. He somehow turns on his little baby puppy furnace. So anybody that wants to take a nap during the show, you're going to wake up with a little puppy. Oh, now he's stretching. He's stretching so you can go right back to bed. Is he going to wake up or is he going to fall back asleep? No, he's going to do that. Quit it. All right, so be resourceful and adaptable. What? You can make a plan and just go by that plan at SHOT Show. What are you talking about? Things might not go as planned, so be ready to improvise and make the most of any situation. I think SHOT Show for people that can't improvise must be more frustrating than people who are okay with improvisation. But improvisation is brain calisthenics, right? It's like brain yoga. If you're so strict in your thoughts that you can't handle the chaoticness of what's going on at SHOT Show, then I hope SHOT Show, you think of it as an exercise, as a way to strengthen that ability. Now, if you're decent with that, then, exercise that muscle, exercise that ability. You get so much more out of SHOT Show just by letting stuff bounce off you and, being able to jump on stuff. That being said, no need to be reckless. I've definitely seen people that bounced around so much at the show that it's effectively useless. If you're going to bounce around, record everything. Record everything. Both document it, make notes, get business cards, take pictures of business cards, live stream as much as you can, record everything. Because if you do bounce around, unless you've got some kind of robot brain, where you don't forget anything, then you just got so much input that you're never going to recall it all. Yep, he went right back to bed. That being said, I also have seen people who's just come to SHOT Show with no plan. Like, I'm just going to improvise the whole thing. And I've done that. I'm not saying I've never done that. There's years I've had to do it, and then there's years I've just decided to do it, to kind of wing it. It's easier to wing it when you've got 7 other people there, or like 3 other people doing stuff. So when you wing it, and if it fails completely, there's not as much consequence. If you're going there by yourself and you're going to wing it, that's risky. That's like going out on a wire with no net. You can do it if you want, but you don't get a lot of do-overs. And you're spending a lot of money to be there. So I guess that's my caveat or whatever. Like, do it with a grain of salt, or do it if you're just risking a lot when you do it that way, I think. Now, risk is a reward with risk. Sometimes I don't think it's a guaranteed, though. I think you can certainly risk a lot of things and have no reward at the end. You can simply, your best option would be to just come out of it at the other end without a loss. But I think what happens with people that bounce around too much, they don't find any satisfaction themselves and their audience, the people that are trying to keep up with them, unless they're really into it. If there's something that's consistent about it, it just becomes so crazy that you're just like shaking them off. You just lose them. Follow up and build relationships. Connect with contacts you made after the show. Send thank yous and keep conversation going. This could lead to future collaborations and opportunities. So that's interesting. Have you ever thought about sending people a sticker or a patch after the show in an envelope with a thank you letter? Like, hey, it was nice to meet you at the show, and thank you for your willingness to have an interview with us in the future. If that ever happens, here's a patch from our show or something, or here's a sticker to say thanks, and stick it on something or whatever and make an Instagram post of it. That'd be awesome. Something like that, just follow up. And not very many people think about doing that after, because they're so worried about getting something into a person's hand at the show. There's value there. You give somebody a patch or a sticker or something, there's value. They're walking away with a thing. It's different than a business card or something. But you can't expect, if you give out 100 patches, it costs you $500 to get 100 patches. You give those out at SHOT Show to people along with your business cards, maybe even with a sticker, and it'll still cost you $100 more to get 500 stickers. So you're going to be spending close to $1,000 by the time you buy business cards, patches, and stickers to hand these out to 100 people. You can't expect maybe 10 of those people to give a shit, right? That's a lot of stuff that's just going to either get tossed, and that's the worst part. Some of the people just have no interest in that stuff. They toss it. I don't want to carry around a piece of rubber all day, some kind of piece of plastic. That guy could have just gave me a business card. Throw this away, or just hand it to whoever who just throws it on a patch wall. So, you're not guaranteed nothing with patch runs. Now, if you sell your patches, probably you're getting a better odds of somebody giving a shit about your patches because they paid for it, and they're probably a patch person. But that's just FYI about patches. I'm not saying they're a bad idea. I'm just saying handing them out to people, don't expect to get, this 50% of return on that effort. So that being said, if you had 100 patches and it cost you almost $1,000 to get all that, and you just said hey to everybody and shook hands, I'll follow up with you after the show, and in that follow-up, you send a patch and a sticker, Well, now somebody's sitting at their office and now they got nothing else to do. And now they got a bunch of bills in the mail probably. And then they get this patch and this sticker as a thank you for meeting them. Well, what's the impact of that? So, and how, does that patch get stuck on a wall immediately? Does somebody do an Instagram post like, hey, look what somebody sent me after the SHOT Show. Thanks for meeting me. Just saying. Have you thought about how you're going to hand this stuff out? Follow up, you're looking for a way to follow up, right? Let's see. And then keep the conversation going. So, when you're talking to people at SHOT, if you are there as media, are you doing a show? Do you have a podcast? Are you doing some kind of a ongoing project? Arrange to meet up with these folks so that your next conversation is to schedule that meetup that you already talked about. So just saying hey to people, just doing a selfie and walking away, it's a thing to do, but you could also follow up, right? Get something scheduled. All right, so with that, where are we at? Oh, we're just over an hour already. So that's what happens. You get an hour lecture. Hopefully this worked. I didn't get much feedback. Whatever's happened in the roll call, it's taken over the chat over there. So that's probably an opportunity to say, do you change your passwords on the regular? Do you go through and put a new password in once in a while? Or use something like that second, what do they call that? Where you have the thing text you with a code every time you log in. Always a good idea. There's nothing gained by having a password that's easy to remember. There's nothing gained by having a password for more than 6 or 8 months at a time. But I have no idea what's going on over there. Sounds like something, some kind of identity situation. But sorry to hear that. We'll be going live next week. I don't know. Maybe we'll go live next week. Tuesday morning will be the beginning of SHOT Show. So that would be a time when most people don't go live. Oh, I forgot we have a poll going. Let's take a look at that poll so you're not looking at puppy butt. How will you cover SHOT Show in 2024 was the question today. And it looks like 40% of the responses are coming back with my proven method. 30% are coming in with an improved method. So they've done it before. 20% are coming in with no real method. And then 10% with a new method. So, if you don't have a method, or you have no real method, or you've not, have you not thought about or put effort into thinking about your message, or your method, how you're going to how you plan to work the show, then consider creating one. You've still got time. You still have people you can collaborate with or get with. One of the suggestions earlier was to do a live stream pre-show. You definitely have that option. And all right, so with that, Gunsbar says, I'll be waiting on you guys. Reports on SHOT. Hit up Cimarron. Love the Old West stuff. Get love reactions from everybody. Right on. So I know Pink used to post something on his Instagram and he'd say hey, let me know if you're interested in something and I'll check it out. I know he's not going to be at SHOT the whole time this year though, I think. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. So I'm going to go check out his oh, okay. So you know what else I was going to do? I forgot. We're going to talk about some of the events at SHOT Show. Oh, I went the wrong way. Go this way. All right, we'll let that one play again. And so this is the gun store. This is one. Is this playing? Now it's playing. So this is the gun store. This is a rental range in Vegas that's on Tropicana. Or is it on Flamingo? It's on Tropicana. So it's the road that the airport's on. So it's actually closer to the airport than the Strip. And I think I'm almost positive this is the first place I ever shot a full auto Thompson back in the olden days. I think maybe my first visit, or one of my first visits to Vegas back in the olden days. So they've been doing they've been a rental range in Vegas for a long time, and that means that since Vegas is an international tourism attraction, that the gun store in Vegas, it's called the Gun Store, has been an ambassador for normalization of guns and machine gun rentals a long time. They're the second oldest gun shop in Vegas, I think. So anyway, they've got an event on. I'm opening it up here. Oh, it's taking me to Facebook. Dang it! Their meet and greet is on Thursday at 7 p.m. And theirs is a meet and greet with catering and drinks. Theirs is, at their event. Is my audio still working? It's at their store, the gun store, and they're a really cool store. So I would definitely check that one out. Now there's another one on. Okay, I have to go look at my list. It's on Wednesday night, and that is the Fuller thing at Rifle Dynamics. So on Wednesday night, Rifle Dynamics does an event at their shop. Let me go double check on that. And then, how am I going to check it? I guess I'll just check it inside of Instagram. And then on that same day, Wednesday, the Recon Sniper, is that what it's called? The Recon Sniper Association or something like that, does a fundraiser. And their event is also on the 24th. So Rifle Dynamics open house, we just closed the thing I did. Their open house is on the 24th at from 6 to 9. And I think that's a decent time because there's some of these are till like 2 a.m. or something. It's crazy. Again, if you are a kid and you're just looking for a place to go hang out because you've been working at SHOT Show, I get it. But for people that just want to enjoy, the open house type of environment, hang out with people, in a social situation, but then still get some sleep and be able to get to SHOT Show the next day, 9 p.m. is a good time for this thing to end. Rifle Dynamics is right near the airport, so it's kind of between SHOT Show and the airport, and it's next to the airport, so it's kind of it's an Uber ride away from the convention center. It starts at 6, which gives you time to go eat or something and then get to the event. The same with that Marine. No, is it? I don't know if it's Marine Recon Sniper. It just might be Marine. It just might be Recon Sniper. The gun store's open house also starts at 6. So you've got. There we go. No, I'm doing it right. So you've got time to go eat there. Now there's a get together on Monday night at the Broffenroffer house. And last year that was put together by FPC. So it was more of a Second Amendment activist focused get together as opposed to just a bunch of random people or a bunch of YouTubers or anything. So, and it's put on by the Arms Room Radio out of Florida. So I'm hoping that one's still going to be a Second Amendment focused one. And that'll be at the place called the Broffenroffer House or something. It's like a German or something beer hall. Super loud, but it's free beer and food and stuff. What am I missing? There is also for content creators, there's an NSSF breakfast on Wednesday morning, which is at SHOT Show. You just get there early and you can eat breakfast there. And it's cafeteria breakfast. It's better than cereal or something. But maybe if you like cafeteria eggs and potatoes and stuff, it's probably greasy. But it was all right. What else am I missing? There is... there's a lot of stuff. There's going to be events for Brownells. There'll be events for Glock. There's events for other companies that are invite only. So there's not much point unless you're trying to get a ticket to one of those if you haven't attended one before. Some of those you want to dress up for. Some of them you want to, like the Glock party is like an actual thing. People don't just wear, party clothes into there. People typically dress up for it, and it's dinner. I think it's nice. Others are typically just parties, so sometimes people go home and change. Most people just go straight from the show. Yeah, I'm not remembering any. My dad planned to try to come up with a list of them, but in past years, people have come up with lists and posted them all over. The only place I got recommended to is some Facebook thing, and I'm not going to go to Facebook for that because I don't know. I wasn't already invited to the group, so I don't even know how to get in there. So the invite, or the event lists are either going to be like what they do at the gun store, where they promote it on their Instagram and let people know because it's truly an open house, or like Rifle Dynamics here posting it on their Instagram because it's truly an open house, or you're going to have to know somebody. So essentially, when you're sitting in one of those shuttles, or you're waiting in line, or you're in an elevator or something, there's nothing stopping you from saying, what's going on tonight? Who knows about something that's an event tonight? Or, what's the best event this week? You're allowed to say stuff like that. And guess what'll happen? Somebody will go, this or that, Sometimes nobody will say anything, but in Vegas, usually somebody will say something. So hopefully leave you with something better than what you came with. Thanks for sticking around. And if you have any other issues going into SHOT Show, ask around. You're not the only one going. All right, my dog's acting weird. That's a good time to leave it. We'll throw another commercial up here for our store. You bet. Thanks for letting me know there's still people out there. It's always weird when nobody's commenting because then I just assume my internet's not working or something. But thanks again for joining. We will throw it with another commercial for the store if you want to buy something. It helps us get to SHOT, so thanks for that. And let's see, we'll be back tomorrow to talk about what's going on the Instagrams. Oh, wait a minute. I do most of this show so that I can do a warm-up show for Cape Gunworks. Let's see if they've got their show going already. They do. So let's go back to screen sharing. Let's open up the Cape Gunworks chat. Looks like they're only 2 minutes in. We'll give them a 4th thumb over there. And we'll put an H in that word so that it's an actual word. And boom. Then we'll grab that URL and cram it back over here. We'll go into the edit. We'll jam it over onto the customization tab or menu. I don't know if you call this a tab or not. It's not at the top. Can a tab be at the side? We'll zap that into the place. We'll click it. And now we can safely end the show. That'll send people over to the 2A Tuesday segment of the Grace Curley Show, streamed by Cape Gunworks over there. Oops, it's not going to click for me. I'll do this, copy and paste. All right, thanks again, and thank you, and thank you. Hopefully everybody has a good SHOT Show, and yeah, maybe we'll do some kind of after wrap-up thing, or else somebody also hosts an after wrap-up thing in the evening, which usually gets better views. Thanks everybody for joining. No, let's do a commercial. Let's do a quick commercial. No, let's do a long commercial. Thanks, Voss, for this one.
Captain, a vessel approaching.
On screen.
We're being hailed.
Every weekend over at gearwebsites.com, our online store, we have free Patch Friday. And that means that every order placed on our store on Fridays is going to include at least one free patch. So that's every order with no coupons, no minimum order, no codes needed. You place the order on Friday, and when it arrives to you, it's going to have at least one free patch. Your support means a lot to us,
and financial support is critical. So thanks again to the people who keep us online through purchases at gearwebsites.com.
all day.